These days, I have been struggling a lot with meditating and sitting with myself. And it's because, in a way, it's hard to be with yourself. It's hard to be with yourself in a place of non-judgment where you can look and see and understand what is going on without making yourself feel bad about circumstances that are often out of your control. And meditating, shadow work, it's never been easy work. But that is why it's important. Sometimes the only way to get through that thing you're struggling is to go within. A spiral, right? It spirals inwards, it spirals outwards. It's all connected. We are all connected. And when you let yourself connect with those inner thoughts, not just face your shadow head on, because your shadow is you. You need to make friends with your shadow, because that is making friends with yourself. That is making friends with your dark side. And if you deny that, it's not like it stops existing. And if anything, it gets harder to work with. The longer you ignore it, the harder it is to come back, to listen, to be quiet. That doesn't mean you need to go sit and meditate for 30 hours. Lord knows, even when I was meditating regularly, I never reached that far. But when I try, when I let myself be still without the technology, because that is also important, the answers I seek tend to be there. And I'm positive that if you let yourself, if you practice, if you work with yourself on understanding, your answers will be there too. And again, that's not to say it is easy, but in life, seldom are things always easy. And you can let it be easy. You know, that saying that I love to use is let it be easy before I go into things. And it helps my mind find ways to ease through. But sometimes it's not necessarily the meditating or the sitting with my brain in a quiet space or in the rain, because that's where I find it calming. That's not the hard part. It is getting myself to the point of being willing to try. And I think that's something that is not talked about a lot in meditation or in these kinds of spaces. I myself, check out my little black kitty here. But, when I allow myself those times, everything feels gentler, things feel softer, it flows better. But sometimes I still resist, and I know I am not the only one. I did a reading for myself this morning, and it was, about the home situation where my partner and I live now. It's not the best, and we are both trying to find a situation that is better for us, but it feels difficult, and I have to remind myself to let it be easy. But in this reading I did about this particular situation, nothing came up necessarily about the external factors. It was all internal. I had to align myself. I had to move through. I had to find time to sit with my own energy. This little guy wants to go back in. It's pretty noisy out here too. I'm not coming in now. That's him wanting to come in. But, if I give myself that time, which I purposely did this morning, I feel more grounded. I feel more open. I feel more connected, not just to myself, but to my guides, which, I've been able to feel them, but that connection has been so quiet lately. It sometimes flows as easy as a conversation on the phone, and other times it's just the impression of the energy that they're there. And in those times where I am not allowing myself quiet, I am not giving myself space to breathe without judgment, those voices feel further away. That connection feels further away. And it's not fun, but it is also my reality. And so the advice that, my cards gave me, which I feel a very strong urge to share because I feel like it's advice other people need, is I need to find time to sit with myself. I am not my own enemy. I am my, biggest supporter, or that is the identity I want to carry. And in order to carry that, I need to give myself the things that I need. And that is not working myself to the point of burnout and stressing myself out about not meeting deadlines I set for myself. Because when I let myself fall into too much of the structured, rigid, masculine energy with my entrepreneurship and my businesses, that is what it feels. It feels like overwhelm. It feels like I have to do this or nothing is going to work and I am going to have a mental breakdown. And that's not fun for anybody. And so I have decided to go back to something I did last year that truly helped. Another busy highway. It's pretty noisy, but gives time to slow and collect thoughts. And that, anyways, backtracking because, but the thing I'm trying to give myself is time to be with myself first thing in the morning. And some days that might look like 5 minutes. Today it was almost an hour where I can just sit outside, be still. I leave my phone inside, and I know this doesn't work for everybody, but even if you can find 5 minutes for yourself in the morning where you can just be alone with your thoughts. I know some of us are parents, some of us have busy schedules and so many things on our plate that it feels hard to juggle. But if you give your brain that reset, that even if it's 1 minute to start with, you'll find that the rest of your day feels easier because you're not starting your day off from this place of chaos. Have to do. You're starting from a place of inner stillness. You're starting from a place of inner peace. And it might not always feel like that. And especially at first, it might be difficult to get into that. But you are strong enough to do that. So just take a moment, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and allow yourself to trust yourself. You deserve that. Give that to a gift for yourself. If you were told that the difference between where you are now and where you want to be, ultimate goal, was 5 minutes alone every morning with yourself, would you do it? Obvious answer, of course, yeah, sure. Like, I can be with myself for 5 minutes, if that's going to make me rich, if that's going to give me my dream home or my dream job, or allow me to be a self-sustaining business. But our brains like to throw logic in the way, right? That masculine, hard, structured energy. Like, yeah, how is 5 minutes with myself going to make me a millionaire? It doesn't logically make sense. But that is when you need to fall into the trust. You need to fall into... confirmation right there. You need to fall into your knowing and your understanding that your external reality reflects your internal mind and world, right? The spiral goes both ways. It goes in and it goes out. They reflect each other, they mirror, and this, is reflected in so many things in the universe, right? From pieces of galaxies looking like microscopic cells, which is something I always find fascinating. But everything is connected, everything is energy, everything flows in and out and weaves. And when we allow ourselves to trust in that knowing, when we allow ourselves to come back, to return to it, to understand that these quiet moments hold more value in some cases than an hour of work. And it's not because we're doing work in those 5 minutes outwardly, but in a way we are doing the work because we are letting ourselves return to that place where we want to be. In most cases, why do you want to be a millionaire? It's because that money affords you the stability to have peace, to not stretch, right? So that underlying feeling is peace. Why do you want that dream job? Because it will provide ease. Why do you want your dream house? Because it will make you happy, it'll bring you joy, because it has those things that you need, or that environment that you crave, that you know deep down is meant for you, because it will bring peace, ease, or joy. And that, a lot of times, is where all these wants, these cravings, these little manifestations that we're working to, that is where they all come back to, is that those moments of peace and joy that we are craving, whether that is the conscious thought at the forefront or not. So when we bring ourselves to center, when we let ourselves ground, and that is the first thing we do in the morning, it also in a way sort of programs your brain. It's like, priming an engine. Your brain is the engine to prime for ways to have peace or ease. And that peace and ease might not stay with you for the whole day, especially while you are growing this practice. But more and more it builds, it compounds, it multiplies, it spirals out. And that inner piece of energy affects our outer world. When we allow things to be easy, we get downloads, we get ideas, we get connections that we know will lead us to the places we want to go. And it is only if we can take action on those knowings and inklings that we have that those things that we want will be found. But sometimes you don't know what action to take, and that is hard. Sometimes that action is finding that stillness because it gives you peace. Sometimes that 5 minutes of peace in the morning means you have an extra 30 minutes to work on your goals in the evening, or after work, or on your lunch break. And that doesn't mean you should hustle all the time or work all the time, but you should listen to yourself. You should trust yourself, because you, and only you, deep down, know what it is you need. And when you feel so disconnected and separated from that, it makes things feel overwhelming. It makes it hard to understand how you'll move through. So my challenge to you, find 2 minutes. Even just 2 minutes. If you can't do 2, find 1, 30 seconds. Just close your eyes and breathe. Mantra I use and have, I didn't hear it from anywhere, at least in this incarnation, but the one that I use myself and have since I started meditating is on a breath. I am one with the universe, or enter whatever word you like to use. I am one with the universe. On your exhale, the universe is within me. On your inhale, and I within it. Just inhale, exhale, inhale. 3 verses, 3 aspects of a breath, if you will. And just let that become your rhythm. Let that become your soothingness. Let that fuel you to further places. Because when you trust yourself, you'll surprise yourself. And I know that you will make it through this, no matter how hard it is. So, maybe today is the day you start meditating. Maybe it's tomorrow. But let that meditation experience be whatever it is you need to be. You might hum through it. Sometimes I do that. Helps me. If you speak light language, having light language or light codes as you meditate may help as well. But either way, I'm proud of you. If you made it this far, for listening, for trusting yourself, for being willing to take that first step and that first leap of faith. Because that's what's going to get you where you want to go. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And I truly, truly hope that this helps, because we all deserve to find that peace and joy and happiness. I'd love if you shared in the comments what you did today and how you found that moment, where you found that moment throughout your day. It doesn't even have to be the first part of the day. Just, be brave and be willing to try. Doesn't mean you won't fail, but taking that first step can definitely be the hardest part. I'll see you next time.